When did the music stop mattering to Bill and Ted? Why would a CGI Rufus have been a bad idea? And where are their original kids? Hi, I'm Joe, and we're about to have a most triumphant time. Who tamed the Wild Stallions? The totally bodacious great ones Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan were meant to change the world through their music. As the Wild Stallions, their melodies would bring peace, love, and harmony to the human race. You know, what good music should do on any given day. Unfortunately, their Battle of the Bands success and Bill and Ted's bogus journey didn't exactly lead to anything substantial, as we quickly find out in the new movie. Yet, here's the strange thing. While they went to the future to improve their musical skills before, they seem pretty average now. In fact, they're probably at the same level as when we first met them in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. The worst part is the music now seems secondary to everything else around them. Heck, there's even a part where Ted questions if they'll ever write the song to change the world. And that just doesn't sound like something he would ever say. The truth is, this Bill and Ted film isn't about the bond of music and friendship, it's about family. Keanu Reeves, who plays Ted, confirmed this to Parade, saying, "We didn't try to play these older guys like they were, still teens. Now they're men, they're married, they have children, the film is about family. Sure, the now 50-plus characters can't be teenagers forever and will have other priorities, but maturity shouldn't mean you lose your passion. What happened to the love for the heavy metal, dudes?" How Rufus almost had a bigger role. One of the biggest highlights of the first two movies was comedian George Carlin as Rufus. He was the person who first told Bill and Ted about their future and helped them take a trip through time. He became a huge part of the franchise's success, as he acted as a guide and mentor for the two most excellent dudes. Sadly, Carlin passed away in 2008 at the age of 71, way before any plans for the third film were in place. Still, that's never stopped Hollywood from making alternative arrangements, right? And there were rumors that Rufus would be featured via CGI in Bill and Ted Face the Music. Of course, this didn't happen, but it almost did, according to director Dean Pariseau. He said to Polygon, "We would have had to create a CG George Carlin, which is incredibly expensive and very difficult to pull off in a convincing way. We didn't have the time or the money." That being said, the filmmakers still found a way to honor both Rufus and Carlin. Rufus appeared as a hologram created with archival footage, while his daughter Kelly, as portrayed by Kristen Schaal, was named after Carlin's own daughter. It was a nice touch to see how Kelly basically played the Rufus role in this film, carrying on the family legacy of being a supporter of Bill and Ted. But the tributes didn't stop there, because the real-life Kelly Carlin also had a brief cameo in the movie. Truth be told, these were far better and much classier homages than a CGI Rufus could have ever been. Because there's something a little weird and unsettling about seeing a deceased actor brought to life for a movie. Plus, when you finally see Bill and Ted encounter their old friend after all those years, I'm not crying, you're crying. Just be excellent to each other, okay? The fallout with Death. In Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, we met Death, the Grim Reaper and a terrible cheater at games. After making friends with Sandinas' favorite sons and helping them return to the land of the living, he joined the Wild Stallions as their new bassist. In the new film, though, Death is nowhere to be found, until the third act, of course. As it turns out, Bill and Ted ended up suing Death for trying to steal the Wild Stallions' name. Naturally, this explains why there's still tension and bad vibes between the former band members. While it's an interesting angle that touches upon the typical band drama that people always see in the news, it's a bummer that Death has such minimal screen time, especially considering how hard actor William Sadler fought to be in the Bill and Ted franchise in the first place. After growing tired of playing villainous and serious roles, he wanted to try his hand out at comedy. He told Vulture, "So I was getting cast in that kind of role over and over again, and I started wondering, will I ever get a chance to use this comedic side of myself? Then Bill and Ted came along, and I thought, well, here we go, let's give this a shot." And that's the thing here. He's an incredible comedian, and his version of Death is constantly remembered and mentioned by fans of the movies. It would have made much more sense for him and the guys to have made up in the beginning of the film. That way, he could have been a more central character in the plot, and we could have experienced more Deathisms. Instead, the filmmakers allowed Kid Cudi to have more screen time. Missy Married who? Returning to Bill and Ted Face the Music is Amy Stock, who played Missy in the first two movies. If you recall, she was married to Bill's dad, then she divorced him and married Ted's dad. It was an, interesting situation, but no one, not one single soul, expected that marriage to last either. The good news is we were all right, and Missy is now married to Deacon Logan, Ted's younger brother. In the threequel, though, Missy makes more of a cameo appearance than anything else. She isn't as involved in the story as she was before, serving more as a punchline to the joke than anything else. It's a little disappointing that we didn't get to see more interactions between Missy and the guys, because it was undoubtedly one of the strengths of the first movie. This time, it kind of feels like a reunion special where everyone shows up, but only some people get all the attention, if you know what I mean. That being said, Amy seemed to enjoy her time on screen and on set as well. Speaking about the experience to Digital Journal, Amy singled out Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves for praise. She said, "They both have fun on set, and they truly like each other, which is lovely. The set was like a bunch of old friends getting together again, so that was cool. While it's wonderful to see Missy have yet another happily ever after, it does make you wonder one important thing. What would have happened if she'd agreed to go to prom with Ted all those years ago? What happened with their wives?" While the core cast of Bill and Ted has remained relatively untouched for the three movies, Bill and Ted's wives, Princess Joanna and Princess Elizabeth, have been recast once again. What is it with these roles? Is it a hard sell to pretend to be married to the two most excellent dudes? In Bill and Ted Face the Music, Jayma and Erinn Hayes were cast as Princess Joanna and Princess Elizabeth respectively. Unlike before though, the ladies have bigger and more sizable roles than their predecessors. You actually see them serving a purpose in the whole plot of the movie. Marriage is a central theme here as it forces Bill and Ted to consider how their destiny impacts their families as well, and how their wives deal with being caught up in one of the world's greatest bromances. In a conversation with Joe Blow, Erinn revealed it's all about love and how you need to consider each other.
I mean, it's the real base of this whole movie is very based in love. They love each other. There's such a friendship. They love their wives love them. That family is strong, but it also shows that even with strong families, you can have strife and things that you need to work on.
It's definitely a step in the right direction for the franchise, as the ladies played the role of wallflowers for far too long. Now we get to see how important they are to not only Bill and Ted's friendship, but also the fate of the whole world. After all, they're princesses and they can rock out. And those are two qualities that are instantly awesome. It does make you wonder though, why weren't they given bigger parts from the get-go? Where are Little Bill and Little Ted? Think back to the end of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey for a second. Remember what happened before the Wild Stallions played the Battle of the Bands? They went to the future to improve their music skills, but also came back with two new additions to the family, Little Bill and Little Ted. Most fans presumed these two little dudes would follow in their father's footsteps and become rock stars. Well, they were right about the second part, but they weren't little dudes, they were actually little dudettes. Little Bill is Wilhelmina Billy Logan, and Little Ted is Theodora Thea Preston. When people discovered this supposed switch-up in the trailers for the movie, there was a feeling that it was a move made to be more aligned with PC culture. However, Chris Matheson, one of the writers of Bill and Ted Face the Music, disputes this notion entirely. He told Entertainment Weekly, "This is something that Ed Solomon and I thought long and hard about. We both have daughters, and at a certain point in the process, I think it felt more meaningful to us. It does make sense though, because nowhere was it explicitly stated that Little Bill and Little Ted were two little boys. We mostly just presumed it." But here's another fun fact courtesy of Chris. The two babies who originally appeared as Little Bill and Little Ted, they were actually played by girls. See, it's like it was destiny or something much more tubular. But now we want to hear from you. What did you think of Bill and Ted Face the Music? Should it be the end of the franchise or not? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to drop your comments down below. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button for more awesome videos.